In this video, I will teach you that how you can create this Swirler geometry, and this will enhance the mixing and turbulence, and this will subsequently enhance the heat transfer rate in the upper side of this pipe. And before going to that topic, I am going to give you one hint here, and that hint is about that if we create this geometry and then we want to remove this geometry from the model and we want to restore the original condition of this mixing elbow, so what should be done in the space claim? This is very simple here. You have to select this whole geometry with the box, this geometry, and then use fill command. This fill command will remove these surfaces from the model. Okay, so and now I'm going to close this geometry over here. I will not save any file here at the same time. Okay, so as you can see here in the workbench, this is the file I have taken from the part A of this workshop, which is a simple mixing elbow, as I told you earlier. And here I just kept the half model with the medium mesh and full model with the medium mesh as discussed in the previous video as well. And then I just copied this cell with the full model here. So let's say I just copied it again and right click here and rename. So let's say call this as a Swirler. This is a full model, means that there is no symmetry condition, and we have the full 360 degrees model here. And if I open this geometry, and you can notice this same geometry as a mixing elbow as we did in the workshop number 18 to 23. Okay, so the idea here is that we are going to introduce Swirler here, and with 8 blades. They are at the 45 degrees turn from the 0 degree, and the procedure to make the blades I will teach you in this video. And since this is 2019 release 3 version, so therefore I'm going to open the space claim in standalone mode, the same version here, so that we can combine these two files and form one model for the meshing, and then for fluent, and then for CFD post. Okay, so we start with the one plane here. So I will use the line command, and there are many options you can use these commands to make the required geometry. So first of all, I will make the one line that is of the radius or length equal to 25 millimeters. So this is the radius of my cylinder on which I'm going to create the blades. And I'm going to choose a length as 60 millimeters used in the final model. But for just for the initial modeling for the blades, I need to create some length also of the cylinder so that we can place these blades on the geometry. And then complete the sketch by making another line vertically dropping on the axis. And so if you just revolve this line, basically this will only make a one surface, and you have to close the two sides with the help of fill command, or you have to create the circles or these faces from the blend command. So if you create these two lines, so if you revolve these three lines, this will make a solid body in a one command. So if you go to the pull command and select all these three lines, and then choose this as axis, which is the right now is the x-axis. And if you make this sketch on some other plane, then you have to choose the corresponding axis. And then simply after choosing the axis of revolution, you have to choose the full pull, and this will revolve the 360 degrees in the direction of this axis with the right hand rule. And in this way you got this whole cylinder. This will be the hub for my blades for the Swirler. So then after that, I'm going to select the one plane on which I'm going to create the blades, and that can be any plane. This can be either the ZX plane, or this can be the YZ plane. And then simply click on the plane view, and the procedure is very simple. The geometry here I'm going to demonstrate is not I'm not taken from any reference. This is just my imagination. So if you have some exact dimensions, you can create over here. And if you want to make the parametric study, then you can create a various model, and you can see the effect of these models on the performance of the mixing elbow. But right now I'm going to make the very arbitrary dimensions here. So I have here the vertical length as 6 millimeters. And after that, I'm going to create the length of this vertical line, which is my basically my blade, 25. And after that, putting this length, we have to put the dimension for the angle as well, and then press tab key. So now the length is set. Now I am back in the mode for the angle, and the angle from vertical is basically from the x-axis is equal to 50 degrees, and from the vertical this will be equal to 40 degrees. So we have this angle right now. So this is making a line of the inclined line with the x-axis will be the 50 degrees, and from that axis this is equal to 40 degrees, and length of line is 25 millimeters. Okay, then I will make one more line. This line will be of any length, any dimension, any angle. And why I'm making this line? Because I want to delete this line, but I want to retain this point, this end point here, because I will create the curve here. So I want to retain this end point. And after that, we have to again create a one line. That line will be of length equal to 8 millimeters. So let's say this is equal to 6 millimeters, this is equal to 8 millimeters. So I think, okay, this is all right. So let's say I make this line as also as a 8 millimeter, and delete this line from the bottom. Okay, just delete this line as well. So I want to do it again. So okay, so this length of this height is 8 millimeters. So instead of 6 millimeters, say 8 millimeter, and then again the same procedure. This is 40 degrees and 25 is the length, and enter. So again create a one line here. This line can be of any length, and this line should be of 8 here. This line can be of any length, and this line should be of 8 millimeters. So now I will delete these lines from model, and I will just keep these endpoints, and they will be used for creating the curve. So I will use this point and this point, and I will put the angle 60 degrees. So this 60 degrees angle is very important here, and this angle defines the curvature of this vein of the or blade of this Swirler. And if you have some particular design, you can put that angle or that radius into model. Okay, then after that press enter key and escape key, and again go to the trim away and delete these extra surfaces from model. And if you want, you can also move this model slightly towards the right side. So choose this line, and the dimension or the direction I'm going to decide is this line. So there's some angular twist in the inclination, but after making this as a reference, now we have the straight lines for these two axes. So now I can move slightly on the right side. Again, this is very arbitrary. I just want to keep this curve in the middle of this cylindrical body. And then I'm going to create the thickness for this line, and I will use the tool that is the offset curve. And this offset would be equal to 1.5 millimeters. And then I will create the two straight lines on the leading edge and trailing edge. And after that, I'm going to again use the move command, and again the direction I will choose so that this line should be a straight line, so that the flow which is coming from the small pipe, so this blade should face the flow at a 0 degrees angle. So angle of attack between this blade leading edge and the flow coming from the small pipe, they should be at a 0 degrees angle of attack. So I will move this slightly so that we have the straight line, and I guess this is a straight line we are getting here. So I will stop here, and then I will go into the 3D mode. Okay, so let's say I choose this cylindrical body which we created earlier, and I just want to make it transparent. So we have the transparent tool from here, and now I can see the geometry from the inside. Okay, one thing I missed here, and that thing is that to make the rounds on the leading edge and trailing edge, that can be also done right now. So I will choose this circle tool and this plane view, and these lines will help us in deciding the middle point of these two circles. And this small triangle basically determines or indicates this is the midpoint of this line. So from this point, I'm going to create a circle at the end of this line. In a similar way, I'm going to create the inner circle here, and so basically I want to make the trailing edge and the leading edge as the rounds. And again, we have this is as a center point, and this is my end points. And now trim away the extra curves from the model so that we can get the proper shape of the blade. So this is some sort of the aerofoil, and if you have some particular design for the aerofoil like Naka 0012, you can implement this over here as well. Okay, now go back to 3D mode and display also solid body, which is the hub for this Swirler. Okay, next step is that I am going to project this line, this surface on this solid body, and direction would be the y-axis, or because right now this is in the y plane, so I want to project this whole line on this surface on the top of this cylinder. And this is my reference body, and this is my direction, and this is my surface I want to project. So after that, this green tick mark will be enabled, and just click here. So you can see that on the both sides, on the top side and on the bottom side, we have these geometry. So I just want the one part. So I will remove this part and I will use a fill command. So simply select the surface of aerofoil and simply click on the fill command. And after that, because the radius of this cylinder is 25 millimeter and the radius of my small inlet for the mixing elbow is around 50 millimeter. So I want to create the blade height so that this should be the outside of the mixing elbow small inlet. Why? Because I want to be sure that the geometry should fit exactly inside that mixing elbow passage, small pipe, and so that when I use the combine command, so that I can exactly subtract the model at just on the boundaries. So that's why I'm going to put the height of this blade equal to 30 millimeters. So I will first press the Ctrl C and Ctrl V. So Ctrl C means copy, Ctrl V means paste, and simply move the geometry by 30 millimeter in Y direction. So put 30 millimeter and again choose the geometry with the move command, and now I want to give the angle on this side, which is if you use the right hand rule. So if I move this my fingers in this direction, let's say in this direction, so this will be the positive rotation, and if I move this in this direction, this will be my negative direction. So I want to move in this direction. I move this in this direction, this will be my negative direction. So I want to move in this direction, and because it's a reverse direction for this arrow, so I wanted to put the 20 degrees, but now I will subtract 20 degrees from 60 degrees, and I would get the angle as the 340 degrees. Okay, so now you can see that if you undo this one again, so I just want to be sure that everything is all right. Okay, so again I will move this by 20 degrees. So this is equal to 340 degrees. Okay, now I want to make the solid body from these two surfaces. So I will choose these two surfaces, select these two surfaces, and use the blend command. And this will make the surface between these two surfaces whole volume here, and make the one solid body. And now I want to create the exactly same blades 8 more times, means total 8 means 7 more times. So now this is a single body here. If you triple click here, you can see that this is combined with this bottom side hub here. So I want to deattach this solid body from this solid body, which is cylindrical shape. And instead of using the combine command, we have the split body command. And so I will choose this body, and I will choose this surface, which is on the periphery of the cylinder. And this will remove the body from they will just simply this will disconnect the blade from this cylinder. And after removing this blade from cylinder body, the next task is that we need to create the patterns. And I want to copy this blade 7 times. So I'm going to get 8 blades total. And so you can go for any number of blades. Again, depends on your design. So you can also make the parametric study, and you can vary the number of blades from 4 to 6 to 8 to 12, and see the results, how they are affecting the mixing process in the larger pipe. So anyhow, I'm going to choose this whole body. So I will triple click on this body. This will select this solid body. And right now this anchor of move command is just on the blade. So this will move it around this origin point. But I want to move this around my main axis, which is x-axis right now. And after pressing this, I am going to also click on the create patterns. And now use this arrow and simply move this geometry slightly in some angle. And this will give you some options. So let's say I want to make it pattern for 45 degrees. And 45 degrees means that I want to create the total number of blades are 8. So including this blade, we have the number of blades equal to 8. And you can also go for the less number of blades or the more number of blades depending on your design requirements. Okay, so now we have done this thing. Now I want that the flow which is coming from the small lead should go through the very smooth transition from this flow over the blades. So what I want here is that I want the same hemisphere on this inlet or the dome type shape, and this will make the fluid will flow smoothly over the blades. And for that I will use the pull command and simply click on this edge and just move this edge towards the geometry, and then it will give you option for the radius and press enter key. And so you can see that we have the some intersection of blade and this dome. So I want to move this geometry slightly toward the front side. Now there are the many options here. Number one is that I can use a move command and triple click here. This will move whole solid body in this way. Second thing is that I can use the move command again, but this time double click only. This will select all surfaces, not solid body, but all surfaces around this solid body. And if I move this anchor here, this will fix the geometry that you can see from the back side. But at the same time, it is increase length of this geometry by keeping the same length for the dome. And this is the one option. This is the second option, in fact. So either you can use this whole solid body movement if you triple click here, or you can use the double click and this will increase the length of this solid body in this direction. Or if you want to reduce the length, then you have to move in the positive x direction, and to increase the length you can move to the negative x direction. Okay, on the back side I see that this length is very large. I don't want that the blade should have this distance from the end of this cylinder. So I can use a move command again, and I can use the move command and move this surface towards the inside or outside. And this can also be done with the help of the pull command. So if I choose this face, so this will simply increase or decrease the length by that command. So now we have the option that either you can use the move command or you can use the pull command, and you will get the same results. So anyhow, now this is the time to combine these two models. So I will use a combine command. And anyhow, now this is the time to combine these two models. So I will use a combine command and press the control key and hold it. And then with the help of the left mouse button, simply create this selection with the help of this box. And now release the mouse button and at the same time release the control key. And you can see that now we have this geometry. And this is now single geometry here. You can delete this extra commands from here. And save this geometry as the Swirler command, as a Swirler file, and in the working directory. So I can rewrite this file here, and in this way we are able to create a geometry of this Swirler. And now is the time to combine this geometry with our main geometry, which is a mixing elbow. So I will close this space claim window, and now from the inside B, so you have to use this file, the part B, for this workshop. And if you want to create the geometry from scratch and everything, that is the very basic level, and then some data comparison, like the mesh independence, and there are many things. So you have to go to the part A. And now we'll open this geometry, which is my full model with, I'm going to introduce now the Swirler into main geometry of the mixing elbow. So open geometry from here. Okay, so this geometry is now open in space claim. The first thing I will do is that I will make the geometry as a transparent. So I will choose this geometry. So double click, and then from this option right click here on the screen, and then choose as a transparent. And also you can make the color as a random colors. Okay, so now you can see from inside as well. And now I will open I will import the file which we created for the Swirler. So from the assembly menu, we have the file command, and click on the file command here, and this will open one window. And from this dialog box, choose Swirler geometry and click on open. And this will open this geometry in the mixing elbow model, and slightly move this geometry towards the small pipe, and also on the downward side. And also I want that this side should be facing the flow from the small pipe, so I will move the geometry by 90 degrees in the Z direction, or this is the Y direction in fact. Okay, next thing is that I want to align this geometry with my main geometry of mixing elbow. So I will use the align command in the same menu, which is assembly menu here. And I want to locate the axis. So you have to click on the some geometry part. You have to just hover the geometry, your mouse, and this will give you the option for the axis. And now you have to choose the reference axis on which you want to align this geometry towards over here. So choose the reference axis, and this will simply align these two models each other. So now they will be the same line with the same axis. And next thing is that I want to move the geometry so that I can have some references. And for that I will use the tangent command, and also make sure that you don't use the create condition command, and delete any condition which is inside this geometry tab. So, and also uncheck this option that is create condition, because if after creating condition you cannot move the geometry to some other location. So after the command has been done, so you should remove it, and or the second option is there, which is the best option. Don't create these conditions at all in the beginning. The next thing is the tangent command. This tangent command will basically make these surfaces. So I will use this as my main geometry, and this surface as a reference geometry. So this will just make them on over here. So now from this point I will choose my reference, and so the length of pipe will be first determined. So based on this length I can determine that on which height I want to put this mixer or this Swirler into my main pipe geometry. And for that I will choose the line option. So from the sketching menu we have this line option, and now you have to choose the appropriate plane, and then you have to move your mouse on multiple locations of this main geometry, and until you get the required plane you have to wait for it. So right now we are not getting anything out of it, and might be we have to create the plane ourselves. Okay, so move it over here. I think we can try also. Okay, so now this is on the center plane, and from here I can determine length of this vertical line, which is basically smaller than the this line. So this is our reference one, because we cannot go above this line, otherwise this will go inside this main pipe geometry. And if you take a look here, the geometry length of this smaller edge is equal to 291 millimeter. So let's say I decide that this Swirler should be at the length equal to or height equal to 190 millimeter. So we have still we have the gap of 191 plus 50 more, and that can also be done. But now this is now going towards the optimization study. So now this can be done by yourself. You can make any model numbers, and you can see the effects them. And this is now very simple inside the workbench. You have to just create the model and then because we have already created models, so you have to just combine them with the use of the assembly command and move on the required location, and simply click on the mesh tab, and this will give you the option. Again, you don't have to start from the scratch, and make the mesh in one or two clicks in a few seconds, and then move to the fluent tab. Fluent will also will not give you the more work, because this is just only change is the meshing and the geometry, which is subsequently from the mesh geometry to mesh, and all other things will be same. And same goes with the CFD pose. Everything is already done in the CFD pose. You have to just change the geometry a little bit, and update the mesh, run in the fluent, and then update inside the CFD pose. You can get the data that if I place this Swirler into the different heights, how this is going to affect my mixing process. But right now I'm going to make it just in the at the 191 meters location. So just make it as a 3D view again, 3D mode again, and choose this geometry. And I'm going to move this geometry by the distance, because now my reference is by bottom side of this small pipe, and then the end of this cylinder body. So this is my reference body, and from here I'm going to move this geometry by 191. Okay, and you can also delete these extra things which are not playing any part at all here. Next thing is that I want to delete the extra surfaces or the length of these solid bodies from this main model, and this is not necessary in fact at all. So you can either go with, first let's say I want to choose this Swirler geometry, and then I'm going to basically use the command, and so this Swirler geometry and then this surface, and this will remove the extra surfaces from here. This is not necessary in fact here. So I can directly go to my main geometry, that is the mixing elbow. I want to subtract this Swirler geometry from the mixing elbow, so that I can make the path for the flow, which will flow instead of this whole pipe. Now the flow will flow over. First it will go inside the pipe, and then it will flow over this Swirler, and it will make the mixing and the turbulence and the swirling flow. Will be having the twisting, separations, everything inside, and this will reduce your pressure, so that you need the more work in terms of the pumping power, but the same way this will increase the mixing process. And after choosing the geometry, the second thing is that choose the geometry of Swirler, and then simply choose this geometry again. So this will be deleted from the main model, and this main geometry which we imported here, this has done, and this geometry can be suppressed or can be deleted. And if you delete this geometry, right click here and click on delete. So this delete means that the geometry will be removed from the model. You cannot restore this geometry. But if you click on suppress this for physics, and also uncheck the box, so this geometry will not be available for the subsequent steps like meshing, solution flowing, and CFD pose for the post-processing. But if any time if you want to get this geometry and you want to move at some other location, that can also be done. So let's say for example here I move this geometry on the bottom side, like over here, and simply I want to place the Swirler over here. Okay, so I can choose this geometry, which is basically now part of our main geometry, and use the fill command, and then again use the combine command and delete this geometry from this main model. So this will create this geometry over here. So you can see now we are able to create the same geometry over here. So we can undo here, and we can create back the same thing on the 191 millimeter height. And I can hide this geometry and also make sure that you suppress geometry from the physics. And after creating this geometry, the next step is to mesh this geometry, and which are for this band pipe and this small pipe. They will be same, but we have to take care for name selection for this Swirler part, and along with the sizing for these blades, because these are very thin blades, so we